And welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Melinda Akinlami. On the program today, gunmen attack a community in Jema local government area and 12 people have been killed in Kaduna State. 17 new cases of leprosy in Bauchi State sparks fresh concerns for agency in charge of the disease. And Anambra State government gets more firefighting equipment to nip the disaster in the bud. We begin with security matters. It was a bleak Easter for residents of a Seoul community in Jema local government area of Kaduna State, as about 12 people have died after an attack by gunmen who stormed the village and opened fire on the residents as they were getting ready for the festivity. The latest attack, which left many others injured, is coming few months after relative peace in the troubled community in the southern part of the state. An indigent of the area told Channels Television that the incident occurred after a peace meeting between the locals and Fulani people aimed at finding a lasting solution. The spokesman for the Kaduna State Police Command, Aliyu Usman, confirmed the incident but could not give details of the casualty figures. In the meantime, Governor Nasir El-Rufai has condemned the attack, describing it as inhuman and callous. In a statement, he condones with the victims and their families and affirmed that security operatives are being ramped up to rid the forest of bandits. Reactions have continued to trail the ownership of the funds recovered in an apartment in Ikoyi by the EFCC. The latest coming from two legal practitioners, Michael Zekome and Femi Falano, seeking clarifications as to the claim of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA. They both shared their views on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
The National Intelligence Agency should not be allowed by the Buhari administration to play on the intelligence of Nigeria. We've gone beyond all this petty level of an agency of the government trying to frustrate a serious policy of the government. If care is not taken, and if this explanation is accepted by the government, you could just forget about the whistleblowing policy. Because what stops another agency tomorrow? If you call on the SEC or the ICPC, or even the Office of the Attorney General, we have stumbled on money somewhere. Can you go there? What stops another agency from coming up to say, sorry, that is our money for covert operation. We are keeping that money. We are hiding it somewhere. And there will be no end to it. And that is why the government must follow due process. And this government must act transparently and cautiously on this matter.
All this cash that we have been recovering for months, where is it kept? We are supposed to have a TSA. I learned that the National Nigeria Internal NIA has owned up to possessing that money at Flat 7A at Osborne. Now, the question is, in spite of our TSA, why will an organization, a federal government agency, National Intelligence Agency, say they keep money, such money amounted to about 15 billion naira? What happens to our TSA? All the monies we have been hearing that is being recovered in the last 2 years, where is the money? Where is the openness, the transparency as to how this money is being used for the common man, for the common woman, to remove the grinding poverty that has ravaged this land? I can see it. I can see the evidence. So I'm one of those, for example, who believe that some of these recoveries are simulated propaganda.
The Senate is asking the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, to initiate a comprehensive restructuring of its operations. According to the federal lawmakers, a situation where officials and firms take national resources for their personal use is no longer acceptable. The Senate, in a statement by its spokesman, Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, commends the NNPC for responding to the motion on the theft of petroleum products kept in the farm tanks of two oil companies, but adds that the NNPC lost 130 million litres through a breach in its transactions with MRS and Capital Oil, and that although MRS had returned the product it sold from the stock, Capital Oil is yet to do so. And still at the upper legislative chamber, they are making a case for the building of Nigeria's industrial capacity by giving priority to the development and funding of industrial development centers across the country. Members of the Senate Committee on Industries during a visit to Erring, the Imo State capital, observed that the state of industrial development centers in the country leaves much to be desired.
The state and decay of infrastructure in Nigeria continues to be a source of great concern to many. The once thriving textile industry collapsed years ago, and abandoned factories are decaying owing to lack of use. Also, industrial development centers established in 23 states across the country with the aim of assisting small-scale businesses have failed to perform optimally to achieve set targets. This is the state of the first industrial development center established in 1962 in Owerri. The Senate Committee on Industries is in the state capital, along with the Director General of the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, to assess the situation. Among other things, they identify poor funding and obsolete machineries as major setbacks.
Apart from making laws, is to come and see how far this money we give to them through appropriation is being utilized.
IDCs were meant to give a foundation of producing middle-level staff for industrializing the nation. And since they were not working very well and have remained moribund in most of the centers, 23 of them in the country, our level of industrialization is where it is, which is part of what recession has come to this nation.
The lawmakers agree that with collaboration from the executive arm of government, they will ensure better appropriation of funds to the centers across the country.
Countries like India, China and so on, who are highly industrialized now, that were basically at the same level with Nigeria, is because they paid attention to their development of industrial capacity. That is what is lacking here. I think we have come to see, and what money has not been appropriated, we will try to appropriate it to ensure that they become functional and they can contribute to GDP.
Meanwhile, the Director General of SMEDAN believes the visit by the lawmakers will help in bringing the initiative back to glory.
I believe we are going to get it right this time because the lawmakers are here and they are the people that appropriate funds for the development of these centers, and I believe they are really worried about it, and I believe that they are going to do something about it. The government will put more priority on the IDCs.
With the current state of the economy and the need to diversify, these words will need to be matched with actions for the revival of the manufacturing sector to be achieved and the economy stabilized.
The Ogun State government has affirmed the availability of more fertilizer to farmers across the state. The State Commissioner for Agriculture, Mrs. Peju Adebanjo, who mentioned this at a meeting with officials of the World Bank and members of the private sector in Abeokuta, the state capital, explained that the product will be sold to farmers at the rate of 5,500 per bag. While the State Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Mr. Bimbo Ashiru, is also assuring business owners of the right policies and programs to support their investments.
There's need to close the gap between the government and the private sector, which is very key, and that's what we are working on. And you can see that we are a greatest asset. You can see that now, that Ogun State government, presently, we want to engage you, we want to know where your problems are, and we look at the issue of policy. Where we have the wrong policy, you can come back to us and say, well, this policy is not moving business forward. For any entrepreneur to see the kingdom of heaven, you must be socially responsible. Your own issue of corporate social responsibility must come in. You don't leave everything to government alone.
When you have a plot of land, you want it to be as productive as possible. So how do you improve the yield on the land? So some of these things I've talked about, seeds, fertilizer, good farming practices, all of those things are what goes towards ensuring that we improve yield. If we improve our yields, our farmers will be wealthy. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for generational wealth. And this program has taken us a very long way towards realizing that goal.
And when news across Nigeria returns, the Ministry of Agriculture and policemen meet in Kogi State to end the rift between farmers and herdsmen. That's in a moment. Join us again.